I know you probably think I look like something out of the gay 90s. However, this is probably a very nostalgic video today. I'm going to take you back, maybe to the 50s, maybe the 60s and beyond, when women did wear hats just like this. I'm being very retro today, but Easter to me does have a lot of wonderful memories, as I hope that it does for you, those of you who celebrate Easter. I'm going to go back to my childhood. In this video, I'm going to talk about going shopping with my mother for hats. In those days, they had little shops that were individual shops, nothing big, no Costco's, no Walmart's, no Target's, no big giant department stores, unless you traveled into New York City. But there was a millinery shop in town, and I loved it. When you walked in, it was small, but the walls, 4 walls, were just lined with racks of hats. Rows and rows of beautiful hats, hats with veils, pillboxes, picture hats like this, you name it, they were there. My mother and I would always go shopping at Easter, and that's when I usually picked out my patent leather Mary Janes and white socks with a little bit of lace around them, and always a new little dress. So most of the times, my mother sewed mine. She's the one who taught me how to sew, and she made beautiful dresses. And then as I got into high school, we wore suits with peplums and straight line skirts. And I think at that point, we even wore heels in high school. They were, I think, platforms. So times have changed, ladies. And if you'd like to come back with me in time, let's just talk a little bit about the good old days. Now let's go back to that millinery shop for a moment. My mother and I sat in front of little dressing tables, and there were usually 1 or 2 ladies who would help you, and you would point to the hats on the wall and say, I'd like to try that one or this one or this one. Now, we all had big heads. In fact, all my daughters have big heads too. So we had a little trouble dealing with children's hats. So as a result, I had to probably have somewhat of a woman's hat, but in a little girly way. So my mother and I would point to the hats and she'd try on. My mother looked gorgeous in big picture hats. One I remember that she wore one Easter was a sort of a Kelly green straw, and it was rippled around the outside. It was huge. And her shoes were green as well, big platform slingbacks with a high heel and a cream colored dress. I remember that day, how beautiful my mother looked that Easter Sunday. Buying a hat was as much an experience trying them on as it was anything else. And I looked forward to that day all year. When we left, my mother and I were out there with boxes, a hat box for every hat, by the way. And we had packages because I could never decide which one I liked best, nor could she. So we just had a ball. Don't you wish that some of the old traditions still were today? Moosey and I have 3 daughters and 3 sons. And I tell you, every Easter, I shopped for hats for our 3 daughters and the Mary Janes and the little outfits too, even the little purses. I have some pictures that just are wonderful. But nowadays, we don't dress like this anymore. I just am glad that I have these videos that I can wear my hats to. Now, I do, as I told you, love hats. I always have, and probably because my mother always dressed me in hats. After Moosey and I were married, I have some pictures of some of our Easter Sundays. I do have some photographs of a long, long time ago. Many of them are still in black and white, believe it or not, when I had some outrageous hats. Lucy and I posed on my mother's front stoop. The stoop were those steps. Those of you from Jersey would know that. And my hats, some were huge, high. Some of them I looked ridiculous in, but I loved all my hats one way or another. Easter still is fun so far as egg rolling on hills. When we lived in Scotland, I remember a couple of Easters we traveled to, it started with a P. Do you remember the place we went, Moosey, with the hillside and the kids rolled eggs down the hill?
Scarborough.
Well, Scarborough, yes. Scarborough in northern England was one of them. And the other was Hydro something in, I don't know, it was way down south in Scotland. And there were other children staying there, a lot of families staying in a hotel. And Easter Sunday, the hotel put on this egg roll, beautiful colored eggs for all little children, gave them baskets. So we have celebrated some unusual Easters in various parts of the world. I remember another one where we went camping on Easter out by a loch in Scotland. And I think that was the first year that Margie, as her little Easter basket present, got her first teddy bear, a Stife. I wish we still had that one, the one with the button in his ear. But the girls all had Easter hats every year. And whether we were camping on the side of a loch in Scotland or in New Jersey, we still wore hats. So I'm going to put a few little pictures on here. And I'm not baking this Easter, mainly because we have a really busy weekend. 1 year ago, I think we made hot cross buns in the kitchen, Moosey and I, and we did it with Sabrina and Mikey and Lizzie and Megan, sort of as they were watching. It was sort of a collaboration. Another year, we made the Easter egg souffle. That is our traditional family Easter morning brunch. We usually make several of them, and it's, I think I showed you how to make them. So I took some photographs of the thumbnails of those videos, and you can scroll down if you go to videos and just scroll down a year. Maybe in the case of the cooking, it might have been 2 years. So check for the one where we made the hot cross buns, and another one that we made the Easter egg souffle, and that'll be the Easter cooking for this year. Now this hat I love. It was just a plain sort of off-white straw. All of these are, the fancier ones are the turned up brims, and I kind of like them larger hats. And this one, I just put a flower on. You know, you can decorate your own straw hats, no matter what they are. This particular one, I did make a crown a couple of years ago with some of my granddaughters. I forget why we made them. But I figured out that I can put this on a hat and it just fits perfectly. And this is another pretty Easter hat, and I will model that. Then I have 2 or 3 more to show you in my Easter hat parade. And then I'll talk about what Moosey and I are doing this weekend. You know, when I have modeled hats before, a lot of the ladies say, oh, I can't wear hats. You know, anyone can wear a hat. You just have to have this self-confidence to do it. And if you don't have the self-confidence to go out in public, then who's calling? I keep getting phone calls. I'm sorry. I keep getting interrupted. I hope I remember my train of thought here. I would say wear a hat in your own garden if you don't want to go out in it, and call it your garden hat. And then I bet that you will eventually progress to wearing it out somewhere. You know, besides that, they're very good for bad hair days too. I was talking about different hats and how you can decorate your straws. The fancier hats are the big brims, but with the little turn-ups. I seem to have quite a few of these. And why don't you make a hat or find one, just a plain hat in a thrift shop or anywhere. Probably thrift shops are the best place to get good quality straw hats. Otherwise, you'd probably pay quite a bit for them. But some of mine are years old, years and years old. But some I find at thrift shops and then decorate them myself. I love the color of this hat. It doesn't particularly go with my Easter outfit today, but I did have a big purple lily on here. I don't know what happened to the lily, but you could put headbands. I do love headbands too, but sometime in the spring, I just love the flowers on hats. Now here's a plain one, and I love this one too. I haven't decorated this. This might look pretty once again with a ribbon or just one flower here. You know, you could turn some of these brims down a little bit. I do prefer the turned up brim. And the other thing I like to do is wear them a bit on a jaunt. One of my preferences also is to not have much hair showing. I think hats, especially the hats with all the flowers and the gewgaws on them, I think look better with not much hair showing. So today I have my hair pulled back. Now this one is more of a beach hat, I would say, mainly because it is an open straw, you can see, and it does have a nice big brim. I'm trying to keep them, keep their forms too. Someone asked, where do you store all the hats? Well, in my second tiny bedroom, which is our closet room, we do have cabinets, and up on top of one whole wall, on top of the cabinets, is where I keep all my hats, covered up with some plastic, by the way. So this is another little turned up brim hat. I'd like them to come far down too, and they are all big hats. I'm gonna show you one or two of my favorites now, my real favorite. You know, a lot of these, those of you who have been with us since we started these videos, you probably have seen these hats before. So bear with me as you get just another look at some of them. Now this hat is a very special one, and it's special because my mother made this hat for me for Dubby's wedding. And the dress that I wore was a beautiful chiffon that had a hem that was like this on the bottom. It was too long. So she cut the hem off and she put all of this around. The base of the hat is one of those horsehair crinolines. I don't even know if you can get them today. It's a series of wires all the way around. You used to be able to pick up crinoline forms for $5 or $6 years ago. But it has a crown of pearls, and a lot of these pearls were pearls from my wedding dress. Can you believe she made this? And she hand sewed it all the pearls. I think some of the pearls might have been on a base of fabric. Somehow it's lasted all these years. I loved this hat so much that I wore it again and the same dress when Colleen was married. You know, when I love things like this jacket, which is an Adrian Vidadini, and it's probably 35 or 40 years old, as you can tell with the shoulder pads and everything. It has a matching shirt that I don't wear now, but, oh, Matthew's here. Matthew and Cindy have arrived, the start of our weekend. So I better finish up this little bit, but I'll show you my Adrian Vidadini jacket. The last hat that I am going to show you, and it fell on the floor, just a minute. Now this is your classic picture hat, isn't it? It's navy blue, it's horsehair crinoline, and has a big navy blue ribbon on it. And I wore this, probably about 20 years ago to one of my brother's son's wedding. And it was back in New Jersey, and it was in the spring, and I wore a navy blue chiffon dress with it. And I love this too. I don't know where you would even see hats anymore like this. I suppose in all the big cities you could find them, but the good old days. I'm just going to keep this hat on for the rest of the video, mainly because I love the colors and I think it matches the jacket. It's way over the top, but that's okay. Now, Matthew is outside. Cindy is here too, and they're here to, oh, they brought some more bark. Moosey keeps having bulbs arriving in the mail, so we're kept busy planting all of Moosey's bulbs. I think we'll have better luck than we had with the tulips. So this weekend is Moosey's birthday, his 86th birthday. We're both in our 86th year. However, my birthday is not until November. But Moosey's birthday is tomorrow. And we are having a total family celebration. We're all getting together, great-grandchildren, grandchildren, spouses, kids. Now there's one or two that can't make it. That's a little sad, but they will be there in our hearts. And Moosey is so excited about this. So I will film parts of this and show it to you next week. On Easter Sunday, we have several options and hopefully we can hit them all. In the morning, Colleen and Micah and the children are having their normal brunch. We go up there in the morning and they do chicken waffles and I forget what else they do. But Micah and Colleen put on a big brunch spread and we will be up there for that, as we always are on Christmas morning too. And then we have been invited to a great-granddaughter's second birthday. Little Peyton, Margie's little granddaughter, turns 2. And she has a new little sister who's 3 months old too, by the way. We have a lot of girl great-grandchildren, only 2 boys out of 12. So somebody's got to get busy with some boys, I guess. So we might head over there in the early afternoon and just pay a little visit. Actually, we did go there last Easter Sunday too. In fact, I wore the same outfit. I love this so much, and it's so springy and Eastery, and I don't know when else I could wear it, that I'm wearing it again for this year's video and for this year's Easter. Hi. Come say hi. I'm doing. Know you were on. Cindy's here. Put your head on my shoulder. Put your head on my shoulder. You all know Cindy, my love Cindy, Matthew's wife, and they help us enormously, I have to tell you. I was just talking about hats and showing all the hats I have. It is kind of like living in a fairy tale, really.
You look like you're dressed for Sunday church.
That's exactly it. I don't know how many other hats would be there, but mine will be. So in the afternoon, we might go to Matthew's, and possibly Debbie and Barry will pop over as they're bopping around visiting their children. Debbie normally does a big Easter egg hunt, and you know how she loves to entertain. I have one of my little chain necklaces. This one has some little tiny pearls in it, and my pink nails to go with my, ooh, who do I see? Put your head on my shoulder.
Hello. What's happening, everybody?
Well, we're celebrating Easter with nostalgic hats.
Yes.
I'm sure we won't see any around. Maybe 50 years ago we would have looked like this, right?
Oh, well, nothing never gets old. Classic things never get old.
Do you remember any specific Easter Sunday that we spent somewhere in the world that was fun?
Well, I remember lots and lots of Easters, but I think one of the most memorable was when we were up in Big Bear. We we all went to church, and it was April, and we were in church, and it hadn't snowed and we were kind of in the middle of a drought. And while we were at church, we could watch through the big window behind the priest. We could watch the snow come down.
Behind the altar.
And we had done, because there were so many kids and family up there before we went to church. We had gone out, and the Easter bunny had hidden all the eggs all over the backyard and everywhere. So when we came back home after church, we got home and we looked outside. There was about 3 or 4 inches of snow, and then everywhere you could see were just little spots of ink coming through, or the dye, red dye, green dye, blue dye that was all coming through.
And all the little grandkids had their Easter baskets, were going around, and the only reason they could find the eggs was from the dye on the snow. Now, fortunately, it was only about this deep by that time. But I had forgotten about that. Many,
and Mama was always when we were kids, we always had baskets that were just massive with the 3-foot tall Easter bunny.
Yeah,
and
it was fun.
You went overboard on everything, but you made it special.
Just like my mother too. Well.
All right. Well, happy Easter. Love you all.
I'll be outside in a minute.
Take care.
They're outside planting already for Moosey. Well, I showed you my pink nails, which go with this particular hat, so I can't decide which one I'll wear on Easter Sunday. Do you have a favorite? So our Easter weekend is full, and I hope you all have a lovely weekend as well. Our California weather has complied with Easter. It is beautiful, and we are supposed to have 75 and in the 80s sunshine both Saturday and Sunday. So I will put this up tomorrow morning, and you will have it for Saturday and Sunday. I wish you all the happiest of Easters, for those of you who celebrate, and for everyone, I love you. God bless us all on this glorious day.